Hello everyone and welcome to Gamers Armada's review of F.E.A.R 3. F.E.A.R 3 starts off right after the events of F.E.A.R 2 Project Origin, where Alma has been impregnated by Beckett and is about to give birth. In this game you take the role of Point Man and Paxton Fettle, who are brothers and sons of Alma, and essentially the basic underlying story is your goal is to get to Alma for the birth. Obviously, Paxton wants to go ahead and help her out, and Point Man seems to want to kill her and the baby. The story is far more complex than that, but I don't want to ruin it for you. If you haven't played F.E.A.R 1 and F.E.A.R 2, the story might seem a little bit odd, but you should be able to pick it up by the middle of the game. The single-player campaign starts you off as Point Man. You can't play as Paxton Fettle right away. You have to go ahead and beat the levels before you can unlock him. However, if you're playing cooperatively with a friend, one of you guys can play as Paxton right away. Fettle is also the narrator of the game, and he does a really good job of keeping things creepy and kind of whispers in your ear every now and then. When you're playing by yourself, he isn't there. It's not like he's a AI bot helping you out. He's more of the ghost in your ear, kind of commenting on what's going on. The story is told in cutscenes in between each mission. You go back in time and see how Paxton and Point Man are brothers, and they were actually raised together, and you kind of see what happened to them as children that led them to where they are today. To not ruin anything, but I am going to go ahead and re-emphasize the fact that the story in this game is very, very good. One of my favorite things about F.E.A.R 2 was the story was very interesting and very engrossing, whereas a lot of people didn't really care for the gameplay, and I can kind of agree with that. I didn't like the game as much as I was more interested in just getting to know the story. This game is similar, except they did a much better job with the gameplay. First thing you'll notice when you start this game is the game actually looks really, really good. F.E.A.R 2's graphics really weren't up to par with current generation graphics when it came out. I'm not exactly sure if they're using the same engine or if they went ahead and got a new one. But the graphics in this game, you will notice right away, the lighting, the shading, texture quality is very, very good. Right away you feel like you're playing a modern day shooter instead of a game of the past like you did with F.E.A.R 2. The gameplay in F.E.A.R 3 has been revamped to be more modern. The game now implements a cover system where you can go ahead and latch yourself to a wall or an object and peek around it, and normal mechanics that we've seen in many other games, but it's nice to see in this game. The health system has also been redone. There's no more health packs. We're now onto a modern regenerative health system, and this makes the game much faster. You don't have to run back, for 10 minutes finding a health pack. You can just go ahead and keep going. But the coolest new aspect to the game is the point system. A lot like you could say in Bulletstorm, Cool Kills, you kind of get the same thing here in F.E.A.R 3. There are certain criteria that you have to meet, X amount of kills with, a certain gun, or, kill a certain amount of people after doing a certain thing or in a certain time frame. There are many of them to go over, but it's actually kind of cool because you'll get a few of them and you might notice, hey, I just need one more kill with this gun, and I get it, and you're actually going to find yourself that you really, really want to get these points. You don't upgrade your character. The game will do that for you. When you reach certain levels, you will get perks. For example, you'll get more slowdown time, you'll get weapon allotment increases, and other perks that just really make the game easier and make you feel more like a badass. As I said earlier, you can go ahead and replay the game as Paxton Fettle, which is obviously different because he's a ghost. One of the things I found a little interesting was, as Fettle, you can open doors and not walk through them. I suppose he's a ghost, psychic energy thing. I don't know. He can be shot, so I suppose walking through walls is a bit crazy at that point. But Fettle is a little bit different. He can't pick up guns. He can shoot out psychic blasts with his hand. He can lift up enemies. You can go ahead and take over enemies, and then the game mechanics are the same as they are for Point Man. And then, of course, the coolest thing is when you're inside of an enemy, you can then go ahead and blow them up from the inside out. That's always satisfying. Plus, you can go ahead and earn experience points for that. My one gripe with this game is there's no competitive multiplayer. The game mechanics of this game are so good and so firm and solid that I felt it would be really, really fun to go online and just shoot the hell out of some people. And I figured that they would have this in there. Unfortunately, it is not. They do have several survival mode type things in there, which are kind of cool to do with your friends. But for the most part, this game is focused solely on the campaign. And like I said, the story's really good, and I don't want to ruin it for you, so I'm not going to go into details. But you really have to play it for yourself. And with the replayability, if you're playing it single player, to go ahead and play it over again as Fettle and see how things are different and all the new cool stuff you can do with them, definitely makes it fun if you're playing with friends or by yourself, and you will want to play the campaign at least twice. Overall, obviously, if you couldn't tell, I'm going to recommend this game. I've already recommended it to several people. It's a lot of fun. Most of my friends are actually waiting for this review, so hopefully some of them get it. I would love to play this game again cooperatively. You compete with each other, trying to get more points. The ending of the game is determined on who has the most points at the end. So it is competitive, even though you're playing with your friend. If you're a shooter fan, if you're a F.E.A.R fan, basically if you like action, horror games, anything to that effect, I strongly recommend you pick up this game. I also recommend you go ahead and at least play the original F.E.A.R game, which was overall better than the second one, just so you have a general idea of what you're walking into and you got the basis of the story. F.E.A.R 2, I do recommend if you enjoy the story of F.E.A.R 1 and you really want the whole story, check out F.E.A.R 2, although the gameplay is not quite as good as the original, and it's certainly not as good as this one. This game, however, is a must-buy if you like any of those genres. If you like F.E.A.R, just go out and buy it. Stop listening to me. If you want more details, go to www.gamersarmada.com and check out my full written review, and let us know what you think on there. Go ahead and comment, and hopefully you enjoy this game as much as I did.